building. We're ready to get started. We're going to ask all of the candidates if you'll step over to this side if you're a trustee and you're running for a trustee for 2005 election. If you'll step on this side so we can pull numbers and know where you're going to be seated for the forum. We're going to ask everyone in the hallway if you'll come in. If everybody out in the lobby area will come in, the forum is about to begin. We put numbers in our beautiful vase to make sure that we are making sure that we're not going to be doing anything that's not right. Everybody has a chance to pull a number. Well, you know what? What you saying, Trustee Burgess? Okay, with Trustee Burgess and Trustee Potts, you can go with your names already out. They trying to pull rank. Okay, so we'll pull.
Number three.
Number three. Number two. Number four. Okay, Jeff Morton had to go to work. He's on call. He works for a trucking company. That's why Trustee Jeff Morton is not here. Let's give these candidates a great big hand, everybody. I'd like to welcome our audience to the second half of the Neighborhood Watch Forum for the trustees. We're going to ask that there be no talking inside of the Village Hall so that everybody can hear. We're going to ask everyone in the lobby if you'll come on in at this time. We're going to get started for the second half of the forum. I would like to take this time to introduce you all to our moderators. Have they been doing a great job? How many of you all think I should take them to a great, excellent dinner when this is over? I'm going to have to pay for it. Well, you think I should take them to a very expensive restaurant or a low-scale restaurant? Expensive, somewhere like White Castle. I agree. This is Miss Bernice. Bernadine, clap your hands for her, everybody. Bernadine. This is Greg. And this is Carolyn. These are our neighborhood block captains. So, they're going to be asking these trustees that are here the questions for today. We're going to ask 3 questions, and then we're going to allow open mic for the audience to come to the mic. You can prepare your questions, and then at the end, we're going to allow the candidates to have their closing remarks. At this time, we're going to begin our forum. We wish you all well, and we want to thank you on behalf of the Neighborhood Watch for participating on today. And with that said, we're going to begin with question number 1.
Okay, with this first question, we're going to start by answering the questions with Mr. Tate, and then we're going to move to the candidates left until we get to the end. Then with the second question, we'll start with Mr. Jones, go to the left and bring it around, and so on for the 3 questions.
What would you do to help bring new businesses to Sauk Village?
My name is Cecil Tate. And first of all, it's not about what I would do. It's what we would do as a community. As you understand that a board is comprised of many people who must work together and come up with solutions to the problems that face Sauk Village. So it's not so much what I would do, but I would try to bring ideas to the board and see if we could find a consensus on bringing new business into Sauk Village.
My name is Kelvin Jones. The first thing that I would do is communicate village and the entire village and find out what does the villagers need. What type of businesses does the village need, and what can I collaborate with the board to bring back to the board to make sure that the needs of the villagers are being met.
Thank you. My name is Jerry Holman, and as far as what I would bring to the village, sorry about that. My name is Jerry Holcomb, and as far as bringing on new businesses to the village, I'm already on a committee that does work towards those means, and I have to agree with the other candidates. It's what the village needs and what the village board needs to work together to bring forward. One person can't do it, not one group of people. It takes everybody, including the residents.
Thank you. I am Trustee John Poskin. What I would do is what I'm doing now. I work with the committees, the Economic Development Committee and the other committees, to help to bring new businesses to this town. It's a thing that we need. We need all kinds of businesses, not any one exclusive. The people really need to help it. It helps with the tax base. We also need to do what we can to help encourage these businesses to come to town by reducing tax levies, by giving them breaks that we can. We can't do it all, but we can do some. As you know, we voted in favor of giving tax breaks to Advanced Auto already, and that's why they came here. Other businesses are looking for the same types of things. We need to continue to do that and find businesses and create jobs for our people as well. This is what the community needs, this is what the community wants, and what we need to continue to do. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Derek Burgess. I used to be chairman of the Economic Development Committee. I'm glad you did ask that question. In regards to what I would do to bring new businesses in, first thing I would have to do is to make our current village presentable, so when we do showcase our businesses that they want to come here. I have to have something here in place or create something to take care. When you try to sell a house, you don't have someone come over to your house and your house is dirty. You make sure you make it presentable. That's what we have to do to the villages. Talk to the current business owners and let them know that this is what we're trying to do, because every business we bring in enhances their business also. So therefore, what I would do, I would take care of our infrastructure, things that people see once they drive into the village, take care of that, take care of all the other problems, and try to bring more positive PR to our village. We have a lot of negative PR. People feed on that. They come to our school, they come to our board meetings, and they listen to see what's going on if they're getting ready to open up a business out here. We have to be more positive. We have to show that we're trying to move forward. That's what they look at. Yes, everyone wants to make money, but I'll tell you right now, that first red light, we have the opportunity right now on 394 and Sauk Trail to enhance and get all the businesses. But however, if we're not ready, they go to the next red light, which is down there where Coles and Culver's and the gas stations are. We have the opportunity to get all of the new businesses first, but we have to be ready, we have to be able, and we have to be on point to make that happen. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, as a trustee, are you a team player and will you work with everyone on the board?
I am definitely a team player. I've always been a team player. Played in many sports back in the day, and I know how to work with everyone. No matter where you come from, no matter who you are, no matter if you own a home here, no matter if you're a renter. A lot of times, renters are being put on the back burner. Renters are just as important as everyone that lives in the village has to participate in the village. And we have to create a unity and involve everyone in the village. Not just because you own a home, that's fine. But when you have kids and your kids attend the schools, you have to be counted just as well. And I have a firm understanding of that.
As far as team player, I'm not a good boy. I don't play on the team. I'm independent. I think on my own, and I will voice my opinions normally. As far as to move the village forward, I'll do whatever it takes to move the village forward, work with anybody, no matter what the adversity is. I think we all need to pull together, and that's the only way this village is going to move forward. As Mr. Jordan's pointed out, 43% of this village is renters. We have to work with them too. They are part of the community. We all are, no matter who we are, what we are, we're all Sauk Village.
Team player. Yes, I'm a team player. I can get along and work with just about anybody. Rarely do you find a time when I can't get along with a person. As a manager at the post office for all the years, I worked with the unions. I got along with the unions. I was very well respected with the unions. My employees were very well respected of me, and we worked as a team to get our job done. Just like I can do here, and I have done in the past. I have worked with many of the committees here in town. I will continue to work with the committees in town, and we will get the stuff that the village needs and keep the village moving in the right direction so that we can all get what we need here in this town. This is a great town. I'm proud to live here. I've lived here for almost 38 years, going on 39, and I love it here, and I've raised my family here, so I can get along with people here, and I guarantee I will continue to get along and work with anybody in this village. Thank you.
It says, I had to laugh a little bit because I've been talked and told about a lot of different things, but let me tell you this. Trustees here, the trustees that you have, are more than just team players. We're your board of directors, your mayor's your CEO. Our job is to make sure that we have a profit. You are the investors, and our job is here to make sure that we invest our money properly, and at the end of the day, we have some left over. If that causes problems, then so be it, because that's what you're there for. As far as a team player, yes, I am definitely a team player if it's going to be beneficial for the village. That's what I'm there for, to make sure that our money is accountable. If it's something that I think that is wrong, if it's something that I think that we shouldn't do, I will voice my opinion, and I will bring it to the board and ask for their opinions also. That's what we're there for, so we can collaborate amongst one another so we can come up with a solution. Sometimes you argue back and forth, but sometimes a good argument is healthy because you have to put it out there. Yes, I will work with whoever that we have there, but however, I am here because at the behest of the residents who put me in here, not because someone said I should do this or should do that. I listen to you. You're the ones that are going to be out there election day and after that, at the board meetings, and let me know if I'm doing my job right or wrong. But I will work with anyone, especially if it's someone that I feel is going to be proactive in moving this village forward fiscally. Thank you.
The question always comes up about a team player. I think with as many trustees as you have, that you're going to have disagreements and differences of opinion, and you're supposed to. And you will address those issues as you see fit. I think all of us, at least, we should bring some of our personal values and how we see the world. Sauk Village is our world. Will I work with any of the trustees? Absolutely, and give it 100%. But do not mistake it. Team, leader, or player means I follow you wherever you go. I will not follow you if your decision does not benefit residents of Sauk Village. I will not follow you if it's to the detriment of anyone in Sauk Village. I've been a leader, and I like to do that. I've been a leader, and I set by example. So if you see me deviate from being a team player to being a leader, I'm going to do that if it's in your best interest.
The next question is for Mr. Holt.
to know is this. Well, trustees are an important governing body, that's true. Independent thinking is important, and is as important as solidarity, as you all seem to agree. Therefore, my question is this. What would the present governmental, let me change that, I'm sorry. What present governmental policy would you like to see changed? And what new governmental policy do you feel that you would like to implement?
Thank you. First off, let me state that as a candidate, I don't know what all the policies within the village are. And until I got there, I couldn't actually promise what I would or would not do, because once you get there, you find out what is actually behind the situation. One of the ones I do feel strongly on is more open transparency to the village. And as a trustee, I would be available day or night to anyone. I am retired, and there's very few people in the village that do not have my email or telephone number.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, as far as policies go, there are a lot of policies in town that we have that are in writing. And even as a trustee, I couldn't tell you a quarter of them probably, because the book is about 16 inches thick. The recent policy that we approached on was we had a business in town who wanted a new sign, the electronic sign over at the restaurant. And we did work as a group, as a committee. The ordinance committee worked, and the trustees worked together to get that policy changed to work with our citizens and our businesses here in town. I think that is a positive way to work it. If things are presented to us and say, this isn't fair, this isn't right, this is a policy that needs to be changed, we should look at that. And if we don't always agree with it, we will look at it. It's the fairest way to go. I personally know that a couple other policies are going on right now. One has to do with yard signs for garage sales. That's a policy that we're looking at right now. And there's some other policies with have to do with the rec center, which have been approached to me that I haven't brought forward yet, that I can't bring forward right now. But there will be some policy changes coming with that. And I think that we can all work together to get those policies corrected, fixed, and to move forward with the village. Thank you.
Yes, as far as what policies do we have now that I would like to see change, I don't know if you want to call this a policy, but I think we, as a board, should be more open and transparent to the village. We should let you know, or be able to enlighten you when you call us, when you see us on the street, when you're talking to us, and we hear rumors and we can't answer. First thing, you know, we cannot answer because we don't know. We don't find out until the last minute. I don't know if that's a policy, but that's a problem that we have. Something new that I would like to see done in this village would be more question Q&A for our, at the board meetings. I know that we have Q&A that says that you can only ask certain questions at certain period of time. If a person comes out to the board meeting, be it the committee meeting or the village board meeting of a whole, and they want to ask questions, they took out their time to do this. We're here. This is our job. This is what we're supposed to be here for, to answer their question and a phone number. But don't have them come back to the next meeting and ask the same question because they didn't get an answer. That's something that we don't need to have as a village. You need to stop that. If it takes, I heard one trustee before, if it takes all night, that person took their time to come out here. You don't know how long it took that person to get up in that microphone and say, I have this, I have a problem, can you help me out? Or what is the policy, or what is the procedure to do something? They may not be able to make it here between 9 and 5 when the village hall is open. They may come in the evening to find out. But to be rejected to state, no, this is not on the agenda, you can't ask that question. When are they supposed to ask? They're going to wait the next week? These are some of the things I would like to see changed. It was like that earlier, but then another administration stated they were being badgered. That's how all that happened. They were badgered. And so therefore the meetings were lasting until 12 o'clock at night because we had a long line standing outside asking questions. Since that time is not that long, but at least engage. We should engage the people more. That's what we're here for. We are public servants. Thank you.
believer that a trustee should have a feeling, or at least a belief in humanity. And that means respecting each individual as an individual. I agree with Trustee Burgess. I've said in meetings and people ask questions, they didn't get answers, and some were told to sit down and they were being rude. I don't believe in that. I believe that as a resident, if you have a concern, who else are you going to take it to but your trustees? And they have a responsibility to listen. I'm not saying they're going to fix it, but listen to your complaint and see if they can address it. So I don't know if it's a policy or procedure or what they do as trustees, but I think each village resident, if they have a concern, bring it to us and let us solve it.
Well, I'm a newcomer. I don't know all the policies. I'm open to learn and willing to learn. And but I don't know if this is an exact policy, but we need to become village friendly. We need to have every resident to be comfortable, to be open, to feel that they can say whatever they need to say when they inside this building. And take as much time and have enough passion and for us to be compassionate with understanding what the needs are, so that we all can unify as a village and we all can trust one another. We can't have a village moving forward if we don't trust one another. If you don't trust me, why would you come here, leave your home, come down here to hear what I want to, what I have to say to help the village, if you don't trust that I'm going to do anything about it? We must repair this mistrust that's going across the village. We need everyone here, every village board meeting.
Let's give these candidates a great big hand clap, everybody. We have two trustees that's not here, so it is taking us long to answer the questions. All of you all answered those questions so good. Thank you very, very much. So at this time, we're going to open up the mic, and just like we did earlier, if you have any questions you want to ask the trustees, if you want to ask a particular trustee a question, or if you just want to ask a question, and any of them can feel free to answer the question that you want to ask. Again, if you're not in line, we're going to ask you not to get in line because we are right on schedule and everything is moving great. So I'm going to count to 3. If you're not in line, please do not get in line. 1, 2, 3. 1, I know. I get to do that today. 2 and 3. Just like I said to the school board candidates, and I'm going to say to our audience, the audience has been very great and has been very mature. We appreciate that. Today, excuse me, if you talk, you have to pay a $1,000 fine. We're not asking, we are asking that everyone be on your best behavior. We're not here to embarrass anybody. We don't want to bash anybody. We want you to get your questions that you feel from the candidates that you need to know in them running for their election that would help you make up your mind whether to vote for them or not. So you can ask a question, but I'm asking you to ask it respectfully, and if we feel that someone is being disrespectful, then we will ask you to stop your question and to talk sidebar with that candidate after the forum is over. So at this time, the open mic is officially open. After you ask a question, we're going to ask no more than 2 trustees to respond, and to keep your responses at least 2 minutes or under.
Stephen Chimkus, 45-year resident, and this question is for anybody out there. I think that what's important about a trustee or any elected official is how they run their campaign, and not just the words, the substance. I don't want to hear about how bad the other guy is. I want to hear about what you're going to do. So my question is, how will you run your campaign?
Let me go with that one. I appreciate that, and that's a very, very good question because it does. If your campaign is a reflection on you, however, people cannot talk for you, even though you may think so. People are grown, but your campaign should be about what you're going to do as a village. As a trustee in the village, as an elected official. Also, it should be to bring your expertise to the board, to this village, to let everyone know what it is that you've done, let everyone know what it is that you plan on doing, and how you conduct yourself, and also how you conduct yourself as a viable resident in the village. Because what you do, as far as out in the village, volunteering and things like that, is a direct reflection of how you will be involved as a trustee in the village.
That's right.
Yes, I personally plan to run nothing but a positive campaign. I don't believe in any of this negativity that goes on. I am not going to call anybody any names. I am not going to respond to anybody who calls me any names. This town is a great town to live in. I like my neighbors. I like the people here all of them who I meet every day, and I think it would be an injustice to them if I sat up here and tried to run anybody down. And that is the way I've lived my life, and I will continue to do that, and I will not have a negative campaign. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jimo Kasali, resident for 20 years. I have two questions. One is directly to Mr. Cecil. What do you think that you have that's going to contribute as a former lieutenant in the Army that you're going to put here? And second of all, in November, my house was broken into. I had no claim in the last 3 years. Because I filed the claim, the insurance company dropped me. So this question is to all of you. What will you do to help us with the crime rate that's going on in Sauk?
The first question was kind of personal, thank you very much. Most of my life have been planning and coordinating and of course giving direction to other individuals on how to carry out a task. So I have tons of experience on how to plan an event, and I call it in the military their events, and how to coordinate that. And I bring the coordination and the planning to this board. Implementation, I can make all the plans in the world, but if I don't have someone to implement that plan, to carry it out, then it doesn't mean anything. It's a piece of paper. So I do that. I plan, coordinate, and I oversee to make sure the implementation and that it's carried out properly.
As far as the safety and the break-ins, and it's all about the involvement of the community. If you see something, say something. That goes back to the trust. You have to trust that if I tell my neighbor someone is in their yard, that something will be done about it. The whole community have to come together in order to combat break-ins and violence. You have to be proactive. You have to put plans in place that will beat out the thugs and the wrongdoing in the community. You have to get ahead, not to react after it's done.
Hi. This question is more directed toward Mr. Tates and Mr. Jones and Gary Hobum. I know that when you first try to become a trustee, or you first are electing for one, you guys go hard, and you do these things, and you get out in the community. I know that John does a lot of, with his committee work, he does a lot, and you see him all the time, and that's the fire that we're kind of looking for. As people coming in and wanting us to vote for you, what are you guys going to do, and will the fire die after you guys get appointed? And you guys have 4 years to go, and now I see you for the first 5 weeks, and then I see you for the first 6 months of your election, and then I don't see you again until election comes up again. What are you guys going to do to maybe stay in? Because like John, he's always out there. So what are you guys going to do to kind of help with that and make sure that I still see you for 4 years?
I hope you do. The thing is that an elected official is an elected official 24 hours a day. So you just don't see them every election or campaigning for someone else. I plan on making myself available to the residents of Sauk Village if they need to talk to me about an issue that concerns them. Keep it in mind, your issues are my issues. It's not the other way around. So being available and being accessible to you as a resident and trying to address any concerns that you have that revolves around living in Sauk Village.
Well, shame on you if you don't want to get involved in the community. We're, as a trustee and as any elected official, you take on a responsibility to gain votes, to gain trust in a community. And what you could judge me upon right now, I don't have a track record, is my passion. I'm passionate about creating a community that everyone wants to be proud of, that everyone can say, this is my hometown. I know you've heard of Sauk Village. Oh yeah, I want that environment to spread across the whole village. And in order to do that, the way you got in office is the way you need to keep your seat in office.
First of all, people have to understand this is a very, very diverse community. Just for statistical reasons, as far as the first of this month, the state of Illinois rates us at 47% black, 28% Hispanic, 25% white, and 2% others. I guess that includes Rose Langston's. I've been here for 26 years, and I have volunteered for 26 years. I feel that volunteerism is one of the biggest things that improves this village. We have a diverse number of people that do volunteer, but we have a lot of people that talk about it but don't do it. Okay, and as Mr. Jones and Mr. Tate brought up, and the other two candidates, the more people work together as one village, one people, the better off we are. And I'm visible as anything now. I walk around with targets on my back and everything else. So I feel as a candidate that it's more important that we're out there and find out what the community needs and what the community wants, not here for our own self-promotion. Thank you.
My name is Frank Harvey. I live on 2946 223rd Place. My concern is about in the village is the property value is going down and people losing their homes and all of these things. So do you all think, that the village should be able to come up with a program, a better program of helping people to maintain their homes, helping people, whether they're seniors or whatever, if they lost their job, if they lost some income, other than just what we have in line, can you all come together with
go down to Springfield or whatever, and talk to the governor or whatever about the situation of Sauk Village, because the people need the trustees to care enough about them to listen to their problem. So when you all be available to people to reach you, talk to you, whatever, and be able to point out. The thing is knowing who to point a person to. That's what I'm concerned about. Will the trustee know who to point me to? Or point somebody else to if they have a serious problem?
Okay. Mr. Harvey, you don't have to go anywhere. I just wanted to give you my experience on that. First of all, the reason why you did mention that the homeowners rate, the homes are going down in value. What your homes are valued are what the last home in your area sold for. So if someone actually leaves their house and it is foreclosed on and then they sell it for below market value, and you get enough of those, that's how your value goes down. But there are programs to try to help. You ever heard of, well, we've talked about it before, CDBG grant money. It's not just for the village. The village applies for it, and it only can be enacted in certain areas that are depressed. But if you're have a problem where you have your home needs to be repaired or whatever, you could use the CDBG money. You apply for it yourself. You go down there and apply for it. You can apply for it, as a matter of fact, at Bloom Township, or you can go to downtown. That would help you to maintain your house. Now, as far as if you cannot pay your rent and things like that, there are other programs, the modification programs that you may qualify for, that you can remodify, you can refinance your home, but you have to do it before it gets to that point. You can't wait till after you lose it. As far as the village is concerned, I mean, we've tried. We have housing, but the money is limited. I mean, they're not going to just give you money. You have to get out there and actively go out and get it. But there are programs in place, and yes, you should be able to come to the board meeting. You should be able to come to the village hall and ask about those things because they do exist.
That's what I'm concerned about. What the trustee may point a person out to.
Okay.
What people have to understand is the village, we're in a unique situation where at the lowest end of Cook County, we have some of the highest taxes, and we're hindered both by the taxes in Indiana and Will County. We've reduced the number of homes we have. Right now, presently, we have 265 vacant homes that are declared derelict. 4 years ago, we had 798. Okay, the people are moving in. The trouble is, as Mr. Burgess pointed out, it goes by the value of the home that was deserted and left out. 2 years ago, you could buy a house in Sauk Village for $5,000. The median selling price right today in this village is $26,000. Okay, a lot of those homes are worth two, if not three times that value 5 years ago, 6 years ago. We had 21 homes slated for tear down starting May 1st. We were notified day before yesterday that the new governor put a freeze on all funding for demolitions of homes, and it will be until his mid-board or not with those homes. So it's up to the community. No. We're in a very hard part of town as far as we don't have businesses here anymore. We've lost the steel companies. We've lost a lot of businesses that generated funding and generated income. The income in this village is on the low side. We're poor, and that's the point. Thank you.
Bernice Brewer-Houston on behalf of Sauk Citizen Public Awareness. I have a question for the three potential trustees. Are you guys familiar with the Open Meetings Act and also the Freedom of Information Act? Yes. Have any of you guys taken the training? The training is free training online. Have any of you guys took the training for the?
I've had training in both.
In both?
No, I have not.
Both, but they've changed the policy since the
Who changed the policy?
state. New Open Meeting Act was changed.
November, I think.
November, they rechanged the Open Meetings Act, and matter of fact, the trustees and everybody else is up for retraining, committees and all.
So it's gonna be required training, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
For all incoming and old trustees? Okay, also I'd like to ask, for the two that's here, what department heads are you working with now to help deter the budget, and what ideas have you come up with in order to save us some money here? We know the village is broke, so I'd like to know what department heads are you working with in order to save the residents some money?
I don't think we have that much time, but I'll go quickly. First of all, I am the liaison for finance, also for the administration up front, where the front offices that I'm located, and also I am in charge of intergovernmental relations. As far as finance, working with Mohan, I talked to him, and we tried to make sure that, which it doesn't happen all the time, that when we do have a accounts payable, that we have the money in there. And if we don't, we have to come up with some ways to bring it back to the board to let them know that we're short and we need to go. A lot of times, I'm sorry, we need to borrow from other funds, but a lot of times it's overridden or it's bypassed me and I don't get a chance to see it, that money is being taken or being used, and it was transferred without the behest of myself, and I understand some of the board members. Those are some of the things that we have to, like I stated before, as far as transparency. As far as intergovernmental and as far as the committees that I'm on now, the committee I'm on now, I used to be, back in 2006 through 2009, well up until 2009, I was in charge of Parks and Recs. At the election in 2009, I was released from that particular position. The mayor at that time chose to put someone else in there, and I was in charge of economic development. And then in 2013, I was taken off economic development, and I had no committee. I was told I could be on beautification, but I felt that my expertise was a little bit better than that. I'm not saying that beautification is something that's less than. It's just that I felt that I could use my expertise in something more, I would say, beneficial. Not saying that beautification is not beneficial, but it is. But I just had bad knees, basically, and I couldn't do a lot of bending. So I enacted intergovernmental, and since that time I've had a few programs that I brought in for intergovernmental relations, even though it's been stated that I don't do anything, but I'm out there. The only thing I can say is we, as far as the budget is concerned, yes, I was against the present budget that we passed. I had numerous talks with the administration, with the mayor and things about what we could do, and the only thing, that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. A lot of times you may try to work with people, but you cannot do it if they're not open-minded, and that's what I tried to say. I was told that the budget, if you have a problem with it, tell us what your solutions are. That's not my job. My job is to bring it to you as a trustee, that we should talk about this, and we as a board should try to come up with the solutions, not me as one person, because I am not the one person that's running this village. We have to do this together. So in saying that yes, I've been in charge of those committees. I've been very active. I even at one time, and I know this is just going on, but I was passionate. I was really thinking about not running anymore as far as trustee, because I felt that, even I banged my head against the wall, we still didn't see it, and all I was doing was being a deterrent to the board, because I kept saying no to certain things that I knew that were wrong. But when I started having my town hall meetings and I started engaging with people, I got out there like I should have been doing it all the time. And there's a lot of people out there that actually believed in what we were trying to do. And they would, they would come out, they would get a chance to talk, get a chance to speak, get a chance to say what they had to say, and I saw that. So that's what gave me more hope and gave me more of a reason to further and move forward and run for trustee in this village, because I think we still need what we trying to do back when I got on this board in 2006 to right now. We need more of this with that you guys had talked about and asked about, and I think this is what we should have. I know you shouldn't ask me a question. I mean, I have to tell people that's the way I feel.
Okay, I'm the liaison with the Public Works. I'm also in charge of the Parks and Recs Committee. What I've done is I have been working with Kevin and, I'm sorry, I didn't say name, but the head of the Public Works, and to keep them on the job doing things that they can do with less. They're always asking for more bodies, which is something we would all like to give them, but we don't have the money to do that, so they have to learn to do more with what they have. And Kevin and them do work at that. As an example, we went out, my committee went out just recently and got a donation of paint for the community center and the gym to paint that, and the Public Works is in the process of painting that now. The place has been repaired, all the walls have been patched, the place has been scrubbed clean, and they are now in the process of painting it. They're about a third of the way done. The community center should be done this week, and we're hoping for the gym to be done by the end of next week. So my committee does a lot of work in this town. We raise money for the fireworks. We raise money for Easter egg hunts. We do all those kind of things. And we don't pass any of it off to the village, and none of that comes from village money. So that's how I try to help keep the things going with this town, with all the programs that we have. And I think that our committee does a really good job at it. We have several fundraisers throughout the year. So you'll be seeing us out there all the time. I hope that answers your question.
Are you familiar, and this goes to everybody, are you familiar with any grandfather clause, ordinance, or resolution that prohibits taxpayers from using the community center or the village hall without a fee? Oftentimes, residents come up and say, well, why can't we use the village, the community center, or either the senior building without being charged? And our answer is that there's a grandfather clause, there's a resolution or something. We have not got a definitive answer why we as taxpayers can't use those facilities when we here in this big building that we pay for, but yet somebody's always telling us about the grandfather clause, the resolution or the ordinance. And I'd like to know, are you guys, any of you guys familiar with that? Why residents can't use, and especially you, Mr. Trustee Paskins, because I've submitted forms for you before and I haven't gotten a response. I'd like to know why residents here, especially since I pay big time taxes, can't use this building or the community center.
Okay. Tell us. Just to kind of answer your question, and
No, you want to know?
No, tell us. Give us the answer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I want to hear the answer.
okay, to try to answer your question.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got so many questions for you. I'm sorry. On your committee, you could address that too, is that you don't have any people of color on your committee. Can you explain that why 47% of us are African American and not on the Parks and Recs?
Okay. First, to answer the first part of the question, we do have a policy. It's a policy that's in the books.
Written?
Yes, it is written. I thought I gave you a copy of it before, but if I didn't, I will give you one. Okay. The policy states that the community center is to be rented for 25 hours per hour for under 35 people, 35 hours for over 35 people, and there's a $100 deposit against damage. However, I have the authority, or I can get the authority, to waive that rate if it's for the benefit of the village. If it's a person renting it for a birthday party.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. I meant community groups. That's what I'm sorry. You talking about parties and all that stuff. I'm talking about community groups.
Some of the policy does address community groups. I don't know that I can quote it to you off the top of my head, but if you stick around afterwards, I'll see if I have a copy of it in my desk. I know they have it up in front. You can get one from Sherry or Cindy at any time. But I think I may have one in my desk that I can give you a copy of if you wait around to after the forum here is over. As far as my committee does indeed is diverse. I do have Frank Rodriguez, who is a Spanish, and there's a newer young lady who has come forward, and she is African American, and she is on my committee. So we do indeed have a diverse group on my committee. We meet, our next meeting will be March 5th, and anybody is welcome to come. Matter of fact, we're going to be having a time where we have to put candy in Easter eggs. Sorry. So we're going to need a bunch of bodies to do that. So if you want to spend some time doing a little work for the village, there you go. And I don't care who you are welcome to come. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, my last question, now this is not no village hall meeting, I got a question.
No, but we have time limit, so you asked 4 questions already, so this is the last one. Go ahead.
My question is, how would any of you guys improve the communications when residents come up there on Tuesday night at board meetings and ask questions, and you can't get an answer, you can't get anybody to look you in your face? Secondly, you have other residents intimidating that person who was asking that question. How would you improve the relationship between residents and trustees? You talk about transparency. I want to know how you're going to get, some kind of rapport going with residents where they feel free to come up and talk to you guys at a board meeting so everybody else can get answers on, questions that's pertaining to them. That's my last question.
Well,
I have just
first of all, you would need to get a collaboration, not to leave anyone out, not to impede on anyone's time or how long you could do it. You would need a survey, basically. You would need everyone to have a say in how they would want to answer the questions and collaborate with the trustees, with the village, to figure out what's the best way to do it. One person, there's not no one answer on just to say how you could do one thing. I would think that it would take a few questions and answers to get a certain time and meet in the middle to figure out what's the best way to do that.
Larry Stewart, Sauk Village. My question is for candidate Holcomb and Trustee Pockins. I've served on committees in Sauk Village over the years. I've sat on the senior committee for a number of years. I don't think that they're gonna vote me up. And I sat on the housing committee. I've been through Parks and Recs. The problem I'm having is, in these committees, I'm looking for an oversight that sits on the board, like Hoskins or Burgess, that a trustee that oversights these committees. On the senior committee, we have these rules and bylaws with no trustee involved. My question is, get to the question, to where on the housing committee, there's no oversight trustee. At one time there was, when I was there 8 months ago. Who sits in the oversight for the housing committee? At one time, I thought it was you, Mr. Pockins. So you're no longer there.
No, I'm still there.
You're still there. In the flesh?
Yes, but a lot of times those meetings conflict with the Parks and Recs.
The housing committee, which in my understanding is very, very important, it's revenue. It's money. It supersedes most of the things that you can designate.
I don't think the Housing Authority or the Housing Commission would supersede the children in this town.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. You said it supersedes Park and Recs.
Yes,
work for the children.
But see, right now, it's about revenue. There's no one sitting over there. No, not even you, in the flesh. My question is, Mr. Holcomb is a candidate for trustee. He's also, are you in the oversight committee for the housing?
Correct. I'm the chairperson.
The chairperson. Is that like me sitting on the senior board and I have a chairperson, but we don't have any real representation in City Hall?
Okay, Mr. Stewart, I'm asking you to refrain from your question and talk to them sidebar. It's after 4 o'clock.
Okay,
and this
thank
is
you for the second time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sullivan?
I sat here and I listened. I have not heard anything said about our young people. What about our kids out here? We have nothing for our kids. We try to put some programs out here, but we see that we don't have it because we don't have the trustees to oversee the other trustees that are involved with this to do anything about it. Now, is there anything that we can do about that? I'm asking all the trustees.
Mr. Sullivan. I'm just going to go back. That's the only thing I can do is go back to when I was in charge. It's more, and I understand Trustee Poskin's problem as far as getting people involved, but I'm just going to say back with...
Wait a minute.
You asked me to answer the question.
Yeah, wait a minute. That isn't what I'm asking. I'm asking is the trustees to oversee what's happening onto the trustee that is in charge of Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
Every time I go to a trustee, they say, no, you go to John, he has to deal with it. Why can't the other trustees know anything about what's happening on Parks and Recreation?
Okay. Let me explain something. Let me explain what I can, me and I'm sure all the other trustees also. Trustee Poskins is in charge of Parks and Recs. If he needs help, and I think I talked about this a few days ago, as a matter of fact. If he needs help, he will ask the trustees and those that will help him, fine if not. But we're not there to oversee his committee, to tell him what he's doing wrong. We're there to help him. I mean, you have the mayor. The mayor's there, and if he sees anything, I'm sure. But we're not here to criticize or to, tell him what he's doing wrong. We're there to enhance and help him with the kids. The problem that you have a lot of times, he's going to have a problem, sir, bringing basketball and baseball back to this town because it's been dormant for a while. The kids that were involved and wanted to get involved have scattered to other municipalities that have proven program. To start a new one, you have to start new ideas. You have to bring something that's appealing to them to make them want to come back here to Sauk Village to spend the money. Well, you have to start with the parents. You got to engage with the parents some kind of way to bring them here to get them interested. But to say that we should oversee his committee, no, we're not there. We can help him, but we're not there to instruct him or give him suggestions on the side. But not
say that.
You said that we should oversee his committee.
Oversee is to see what's been happening, and if you can help him in any way,
to
do so.
And you're right. And I said that's what we have been doing.
Even if he doesn't ask you, can't you say how is things going, and that may
me myself, I personally, I have done that.
I know you have.
I have done that, but I cannot speak for someone else. I have asked him. He's came to me and asked me, okay, when you had this dilemma when you were in charge, what did you do? Yes, I gave him my suggestions. But it all goes back to the parents that are out here that are willing to take a chance on a entity that hasn't been going on for the last year or two. That's hard to do.
Now you're talking about baseball.
I'm talking about any sport. Right now we don't have baseball, basketball, soccer, anything.
Let's deal with
we have basketball minor program, but not to where we should have at least, this time we should have at least 14 teams. At least 14 teams.
Well, we don't have any at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying.
All right.
But he doesn't have, all due respect to him, he doesn't have all the answers. We have to.
If you continue this conversation, sidebar with Trustee Poskins, we are on a tight schedule. It's after 4.
One more question.
Okay, make it real short.
I will.
Okay.
What I was saying is, like you're saying, first of all, is the baseball, for instance. I've been on this for 2 years. I have not had any help at all. I've been doing it myself. But I'd like to have some help. What can I do to get any help in this village from the trustees or from the parents? And this one lady says that only 1%, and not even that, are black on there. I'd love to have the black people on my committee. I work with them, and I'd work with them more.
And you're right, Mr. Sullivan, you have talked to me about that, and I gave you my suggestion last year. Yeah. And I told you what we should do, what should happen. If we had those, we wouldn't be up here if we had the answers for that. We wouldn't be here. Right now, it's hard. People are trying to pay their mortgage. They're trying to pay their rent. They're trying to live every day. But we have to engage and find a way to do it, sir.
But we have kids going out of town.
Pardon me?
There's kids going out of town.
Because there's nothing here.
And in Linwood. And their registration fee is much higher than what ours is. And what I have to offer these kids, they pay the minimum. They pay the minimum because I offer them a foundation to where they go out and do something where we'll pay for their registration.
So you're preaching to the choir, but Mr. Trustee,
I know I'm preaching to the choir.
Hold on 1 minute, excuse me. I'm sorry. Did you want to say anything, Trustee Parsons? If not.
No, I will talk to you afterwards, Ed, if you want again. Our basic problem is getting a board together to form the sports association again. That has been a problem for the last 2 years.
I have a board.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan, hold on, excuse me. All of the candidates that's running, Mr. Sullivan is expressing his concern that he wants volunteers to help him, audience to help him with his baseball program that he's putting in place. And you can talk to anybody in the audience, or they can come and talk to you and volunteer, because he said he feels alone in doing this and he wants help from everyone in the village, regardless of your ethnicity. We heard your concern and we're going to help you. That's a challenge that the candidates can decide if they would like to help do, and anyone in the audience as well. I'm going to have to ask you if you could conclude your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good love. Thank you. Next, yes, ma'am.
Well, I had my questions in line, but then by the time I reached, everybody had asked them. So I tried to figure out how to word it so it would maybe sound a little different. So if it sounds like you've answered this before, please just do me a favor and answer it again.
Can you state your name?
Absolutely, Camille Alexander. I've been in the community for around 15 years. When I first moved here, it was a really great community in that neighbors looked out for one another, we communicated with one another, we cared for our children, we actually looked out for our neighbors' children. There wasn't, at least to my knowledge, a lot of crime and a lot of kids kind of wandering the streets, kind of aimlessly, if you ask me. So looking at how it's changed, and it's changed in so many ways. I see a lot of children, and when I say children, I'm old, so I say young adults. They're actually young adults that are wandering our community with not a lot to do. Now, I know that in the past that we've had sports and different activities, but now my question would be to you is, now that we have this group of young adults, we're not talking about, junior high school kids now. We're talking about kids that probably should be junior, seniors, 21, 22-year-old kids. What could you do differently in regards to disciplinary outcomes, services offered by the community, and activities offered by the community? You can pick either one. I really am interested in disciplinary outcomes, if there are any now, and if there are, what would you change about them so that they would have more of an effect on our children and the decisions that they make? Okay, any two candidates?
Yeah, I'd like to reply to that in one respect. Our police department's hands have been tied. Last year alone, they took more than 300 young adults and juveniles before district judges, and 98% of them were released, okay? And the problem is it starts at home. Years ago, when I first moved here, we had a policy that if you did something wrong, your mother or your father did time with you on the streets picking up trash. We need to bring that type of thing back.
I agree. Thank you.
Okay, as far as kids today have no respect for nobody, irregardless of who they are, what color they are, who they are, what age they are, okay? And as far as your neighbor, watching out for your neighbor, when I first moved here, we didn't even lock our doors. Now we have people that are going into houses right next to them and stealing outside air conditioning units, which you cannot do quietly, yet nobody sees it. We have copper being totally taken out of houses. I can take you to 265 houses that don't have 3 inches of copper between them. Okay? Until, like Mr. Jones and all the candidates brought up, until we all work as one community, we're never going to improve in that respect. We also need to keep in mind in the future when we vote, pay attention to what the judges that are sitting in office have done to help your community. Thank you.
Anybody else real quick want to jump in? No? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Mayor Hayes?
First of all, I say thank you to the Neighborhood Watch for hosting this. I think you've done a great job. Candidates, you've done a great job answering questions. I know I'm sitting up in the hot seat. I'm glad that this year I'm sitting back here and not sitting where you're sitting at. So you've done a great job answering these questions. This question is more for the new candidates. I'm not looking for the incumbents. But if you've been keeping up with the news, our new governor has just provided his proposed new budget for the state of Illinois. And in fact, I think it was this last week when he sent it out. The proposed new budget calls for cuts to Sauk Village's current LGD funds. The proposed cuts are between $600,000 and $700,000 a year annually. If other funds are reduced, which the governor is looking at also, Sauk Village can be looking at a shortfall of about $1.2 million a year. You as new potential trustees coming in on board, tell me, what would you suggest or what would you do to address these shortfalls, not including bringing new business to Sauk Village?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have not looked at the village's budget to know what line items are available to draw funds from. Normally, the cruelest way, well, I shouldn't say cruelest way, two of the ways that deficits are normally reduced is through personnel and through services. And I don't think we want to go down that road on cutting either one of those. So there has to be something in the line items of the budget where we can cut back. You've heard the saying of being a lean, mean machine. There's some truth to that. So I think we have to rethink on how we spend our money, how we allocate our money, and stop kind of abusing, or misappropriating our funds. I think there's probably something in our government. There's probably something in our government that we can do to cut back and reduce deficit. And if that's going to be a $1 million deficit, that's not going to be done over 1 year. That's not going to be done over 2 years. But I think we should make a steady step towards reducing that amount. And it has to be somewhere in the budget to do that. And I'm not familiar enough with the budget to say where. But I think that's what you have to look at first.
Again, real quick, before just so you know, it's not a deficit. We're looking at anywhere between $600,000 and $1.2 million less money coming into Sauk Village. Those are based off the governor's suggested proposal.
And then will not Sauk Village at a deficit? Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. There becomes a deficit. If the governor's not going to give the money, and we're still expending money, there's going to be a deficit. So we can start thinking now. If he's going to cut back, we just start thinking now on what we're going to do to ease that pain. And we cannot pass it on to Sauk Village residents. The taxes are high enough, the fees are high enough, and we cannot continue to run the village on the backs of the taxpayers.
Mr. Jones?
Well, I'm not very familiar with the full budget. I haven't had the experience yet of going through a budget, but common sense is to go line by line, go what's not cutting safety, make sure that safety is not impeded on. The police, the fire, those are resources that we must have, and going up on taxes for the residents that are already struggling, that would be very difficult to do. We would have to implement a plan that is agreed upon with the full board and make sure that before you go over your budget, make sure there's things in place that will stop from spending over that budget.
Yeah, as far as the budget goes, it's there. We have to do something. We can't go on this way. 2 years ago, we cut 60% of the employees. We're at a bare minimum now. Public Works is working double time, doing their things. A lot of it's on their own time. Same with the police department, the fire department. Those are all essential services that can't be cut any other way. Other ways, it's like Mr. Jones said, it has to be looked at line by line. There has to be some ways and some cuts. And no matter what, I don't think taxes are increased are the thing. The village is so overtaxed now it isn't funny. When I moved here, my taxes were $329 a year. They're $3,180 this year.
That's all right.
Yeah, well, I don't live in Deer Creek, Derek. Actually, Derek, you have Flossmoor beat. But we have to do it till it hurts. And it's like that. The county, we got to force, and the board has to work with and force the county to reconsider. They come up short, they take it out of us. They take it out of all the communities. The county, it starts at the county and the state, and it has to come down. They need to reevaluate. We were promised 2 years ago that they would reevaluate all of our taxes. Were yours reevaluated?
Yeah, it was reevaluated, all right.
So was mine, and it went up $329. So we all have to work together. Whether we're on the board, elected to the board, or a citizen, we have to work with the board.
Mr. Williams?
Frank Williams, Sauk. My question is very simple and short. I would like to know from each one of you on that board, from the time that you've been into this village, whether you're a trustee or a resident, what can you point to in this village and say, this is what I've done in this village, and this is what I brought to this village?
Okay, I'll go first. Yes, sir.
1 minute. Because they're going to do their closing arguments, and they can put in their argument in their closing
You said 1 minute?
1 minute.
I'll try. When I first moved out here in 1982, I got involved in the school board of St. James. I was a school board president in Harvey at the time, and they kind of knew me because I was going to a lot of different district board meetings, so they asked me to be on the school board in St. James. Every one of those was St. James Catholic Church is that. I got on that board, I became vice president, then I became finance director. At that time, I was basically doing that because that's where my kids were going, so I tried to follow them. Years later, I started coming to the board meetings. I started coming to the board meetings when I started receiving these Hootie Awards, and I started coming up here to find out what was going on. That's back when they met over there where the police station is located. I saw the way things were going. I saw who was being involved and who got involved, and it seemed to me it was like the same people doing the same thing, and I didn't agree with a lot of things, and me, myself, the only way I could do anything or change anything was to get involved, and I did. And that's when I ran for trustee back in 2005. I lost, and I was appointed in 2006, and I've been trustee ever since. When I became trustee in 2006, I was appointed to the Parks and Recs, which at that time the program was going real strong. And I knew the ladies that were taking care of it. I tried to present ideas at the time, and I was shot down. So I was told that, let's try it, which I did, try to get along until we could both, my ideas would come in and then they would more or less warm up to me because those ladies were closed. They didn't want to hear any new suggestions. They ran it like this for that particular time, and they didn't want to have anything else. But after we sit down and we talk, that's why I say sometimes it's good to agree to disagree, and we enhanced it. We introduced Easter egg hunt. We also had a magician. That was another thing. People told me, oh, the kids out here don't want to have a magician. They don't care about a magician. So we had the magician the first time, and it was in the gym. And the second time we had it, I was overwhelmed because we had more parents there to watch a magician than we had the kids. But it was great. I mean, the programs were going.
30 seconds.
Then you had a new administration that came in. They took me out of that particular position. As I stated before, we got an economic development. What did I bring? I was on the board at the time when WinPAC, excuse me, you asked me what is it that I brought to the village.
Here's what I asked.
You asked.
None of Washington brought not neighborhood watch. What I'm asking is, what did you bring to the village that you could point to? She can say, I brought neighborhood watch. That's what I'm asking. I want y'all to say, I want to hear. What did you bring to the village? And look, this is what Derek brought. John Parker, this is what John brought. Are you just how you bring it? Shh.
You okay?
I think he just wants a one sentence. What would you like to bring or what have you?
What have I brought? I've been involved in bringing.
Bring to the village. That's the question.
Okay. You gave him opening question. Let him answer.
Boy, okay. I brought it, what did I bring to the village as far as bringing things to the village? Okay, what I did bring to the village was help bring WinPAC to the village. That was WinPAC over in DP Partners. I was on that board that helped bring them into the village. Yes, I did do that. Okay, next thing, what did I bring to the village? I brought a forum that we could actually talk as far as the my town hall forum. I brought that to the village. What else did I bring to the village? I brought numerous amount of, I won't say businesses, but I helped with a numerous amount of clubs that we have that, is that what you want to hear? I mean, I'm just, because I'm going by your gestures, that's all. You know, I mean, I'm not here to say I saved all whatever. No, I was involved. It's hard to actually bring something to the village, but I was involved in all those things that happened in the village. I'm not trying to sit here to pat myself on the back. I'm trying to sit here to make sure that this village is ran the way it should be as a business, sir. As far as doing anything else, that's what a trustee is for. To make sure that this business that this village stays solvent, the taxpayers get what they're supposed to get for their dime, and that at the end of the day, we pay our bills.
There you go.
Okay, Trustee Hoskins.
Thank you. Trying to answer your question, Frank, is what if I brought to the village as a trustee? Well, I'm going to tell you that as a trustee, I took over Parks and Recs, and the first thing I did was I reopened the community center. It had been closed for 6 months. Yeah. And after I had done that, with the help of the P.L.A.N, I brought back the Easter egg hunt. Okay, we helped have the first Battle of the Badges we had here. If you remember, last year we got the trophy for the police versus the fire department. I also co-chaired bringing back the fireworks and the parade that we had the last 2 years. We've been years without fireworks, and I'm very proud of that. We've done that also with no taxpayer money. I organized the July Festival. We ran the corn and dog roast. I had trunk and treats. A lot of these are new ideas that hadn't been tried before. Trunk and treats didn't actually do it personally. The Humane Society came and is vaccinating animals for people for free or for very low prices. We had the winter basketball program. We had the summer basketball program. We've got a medical heart screening came to town. Looking forward, the things we are looking forward to doing, or at least I am looking forward to doing, is having a volleyball program, having more summer programs for the kids. I'd like to see a bike rodeo and a bike parade this year for our children. These are the kind of things that I'd like to see done for the village, and I have done for the village. I've also been involved in the village for so many years, for so many things. I was a Little League manager here in this town for 18 years. 18 years as a Little League manager. The way I finally quit was I struck out a little girl, and if you all know Gary Bell, was his daughter, and he was on my first team. I felt I'd been in the Little League a little too long then. So I've served in the ESDA. I've been on different committees. I've been on the Housing Committee. I'm Vice Chairman of the Housing Committee. And these are the things I do, and these are the things I plan to continue to do as long as I am a trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have anything to say?
All I can say for myself is I've given 26 years of dedication to help the village. I've worked with any committee that's approached me. I've printed, done ungodly amounts of printing. As far as the housing committee, I have not done anything. It's the entire committee has done it. Without that committee, we would not have had the grass cutting program this past summer. We would not have had the reduction in houses. We would not have the programs that we've tended to bring information on foreclosure and stuff. My committee and myself have attended 111 committee meetings outside this village last year through the county, state, to the point that twice I drove down to Springfield myself to get clarification on particular matters. It goes back to volunteerism. If you love your community, you work to improve it. And I think that I've given 26 years of care for this community.
Thank you.
Once again, I'm a newcomer. I've only been here 5 years. What I brought my family. And I love my family. And I want to provide for my family. And I brought ideas to my neighbors, and my neighbors have embraced me and my family in my neighborhood, and I want to keep it that way. And I want everyone to enjoy the full village just the way I've been enjoying the 2 blocks that I've engaged in, and enjoy it just the way I have. I want the whole village to see how beautiful and how productive things can be.
I'm not going to bore you with what I brought to the village. On the table when you leave, you can pick up my bio. And my bio lists everything that I've done as a resident in Sauk Village. I was appointed to the Parks and Recreation Board in 1981. 1981. We then had a fundraiser to put the scoreboard that should be still in the community center over there. We had the first organized basketball program. And in that program, we had 8 teams that played. So beyond that start, and that was my start in Sauk Village, when I was appointed to Parks and Recreation. My bio would tell you everything I've done since then because I believe in community involvement.
Great.
Now, times have changed. We no longer have as many dual parent families. Mom cannot raise children and go to baseball games. So what have I done? My bio is there. It's an open book, and I will entertain any questions you have after this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Wiggins, our village clerk.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the Neighborhood Watch for having this meeting today, this meet and greet forum, and for the candidates. I wish you all well, because one day I will be working with some of you. And second of all, I heard Trustee Paskin answer the question about the community center and how and when it's being used and if there's charges for it. And Mr. Tate, you just said that you were on the Parks and Rec Committee in 1981. I know
That's
Trustee
correct.
Burgess was on the Parks and Recreation Committee several years ago for quite a while. I have the same concerns as that resident. We should be able to use our buildings more often for more programming. There's 2 concerns. Number 1 is having volunteers that can go through the background check, that are willing to take the time and actually work the program from the beginning to the end. Speaking as a volunteer for a youth group of 45 kids, I had to be at the library because I couldn't come up with a $2 million insurance policy that I was told I needed to have to run my youth group at the community center. So I feel anybody's paying who wants to have a program. I had to be in a small room at the library because I was told, not this administration, not the prior administration, but the administration before that, that if I wanted to take my youth group, I had to have a $2 million insurance policy that I couldn't come out of my pocket. I don't know, Trustee Tate, Mr. Tate, if that was policy in 81, but I know it was a policy back in 2007, 8, and 9, when I tried to have my youth group. But in saying that, I'd like to know how trustees feel about, I missed the answer to that question. I only heard a little bit about what Trustee Hoskins said. But the incoming trustees, how do you feel about opening up the building to the community center, to programming? I want to know, let me rephrase that. Mr. Tate, in 81, what was the policy? Mr. Burgess, what was the policy when you were a trustee in the Parks and Rec? And my second question, this is vitally important to me. I'd like to know how you all feel about negative campaigning, social media, because past campaigns, I've been involved in a lot of campaigns in Sauk Village. We didn't have social media back then. We always had to rely on talking to our candidates and getting to know the candidates. But now a lot of people get to know the candidates from what they see on Facebook. And a lot of what they see on Facebook is not true. So if any people who would like to answer this question, do you support people who put negative campaign information about candidates and their families on social media? Thank you.
Two questions. In 1981, we did not charge village residents to use the facilities. These are government buildings, and a lot of our tax dollars built these buildings. So why am I going to charge you rent to use it? So I oppose that. I oppose it. If it come up in 1981, I would have opposed it, and I still do today. As far as the negative campaign and Facebook and all this good stuff, yes, I have a Facebook page because of this election, but I think you have to be careful. I'm not going to tread on your First Amendment right to say what you want, whenever you want. I'm not going to tread on that. I will ignore it. I will do that. And I've been invited to debates on Facebook. And I heard this, I didn't read it, but I've been invited to debates on Facebook. I will not debate anyone on Facebook. We can sit here and debate all night long.
Okay. We got 1 minute for everybody to respond real quickly. You want both of those questions?
Well, I would like Mr. Burgess to ask as the Parks and Rec chair of the era that I actually had to pay for.
Okay. I don't want people to leave before you all get your closing statement right quick.
Okay, it's real quick. When I was in charge of it, we had a board, which Trustee Hoskins has now. And when you came and asked, if you were a resident, could you use the village facility, we would ask for a deposit, and then we would, as a board, vote on whether or not we should, charge. If we felt that it was something that we needed to charge for, then the board together, not one person, would bring that back to the people. More than often, if it was a community involvement, something to that effect, it would be no charge. But if you were having line dancing where you were actually charging people, then yes, we would charge. And that was usually the case back when I was in Parks and Recs.
But in my case, do you remember the $2 million insurance policy I was told I needed to get to have my not-for-profit youth group that had 45 children that had to be at a small little library because I couldn't afford to get an insurance policy? This was back in the day of the Concerned Citizens. And your board, which you were the head, told me that I needed to get an insurance policy. My question was, Mr. Tate said in 1981 they didn't charge to use the building. In 2007, 8, 9, it's not the charge so much. I don't remember you ever mentioning the charge because I couldn't get past the $2 million insurance policy.
Well, no, to tell you the truth, I don't remember your request per se, but at the time we did, because the Boy Scouts asked, could they have overnight, we asked them to produce, in which they did because we didn't want to hold the village liable. If you were having something that we thought was going to be liable, then we did ask for a insurance policy to protect the village. That was not nothing that we did. That was something that the lawyers told us we had to do. But as far as charging you to use the facility, I don't think that that ever came up. Like I stated before, our board at the time, the board of the Parks and Recs would make that decision, and we thought if it was something that was going to be the betterment of the community, more than likely we didn't charge. But as far as the insurance is concerned, I'm not aware at the time, at least right now, I don't know what it is that it constituted. What were you going to do? I don't understand why you would need an insurance policy unless the Boy Scouts needed one because they were going to use the gym. And that's what they needed was in case they were somebody got hurt playing basketball. I don't see where it would take, I don't know what you were trying to do, but I don't see why you would ask for an insurance policy if you were just having a meeting.
I know it's been a while.
I'm going to jump in here, Debbie, and support him on this. You do not need a $2 million insurance policy unless you're renting a gym. To use the community center itself, and he's right, it's been policy, the insurance policy, if you're playing basketball where a substantial injury could occur, that's why they asked for the $2 million insurance policy.
My point being, Trustee Hoskins, that I'm asking this question based on what the other resident said. In 1981, we didn't have these stipulations. In 2015, when we needed the most, we have these stipulations. In 2007 and 8, when I had 45 kids that weren't playing basketball and were simply getting together to talk, this is when 2008 is when we went to take first place at the Olympics in Chicago. But what I'm saying is, and I appreciate your question, your answers, but my point is, 1981, no charge, easy to get into. 2015, 2008, 7, whatever years it was, I had a youth group. $2 million insurance policy for an individual who's trying to volunteer, not play basketball, just putting a bunch of kids in a room trying to help them. I had to get us some insurance policy. I think it's something that trustees need to think about. What can we do to bring more programs to the village and give residents more space to do so? That's all I'm asking. And please answer the social media question, because that's very important.
Okay, I want to add one more thing to that. Is if something is being done for the beneficially for the village, I do not charge them to the community center. If you're going in there and having a baby shower, you're going in there and you're having a wedding reception, stuff like that, that's what they're charging for. If you're going in there to have a meeting, as long as it's not political, as long as it's not something that's religious or along those lines, you're welcome to use the community center. Yes, you do have to fill out a form and put the $100 deposit down to get damage, and that's all, mostly that is for so I can schedule it. As an example, last year we had 5 people try to use the 24th of July. I don't know why that was such a big day, but 5 people applied to use the community center on that day. So that's kind of why I have to have that form and that $100. Once you put that $100 deposit down, it's yours. And I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Okay, this will be our last question, Ms. Anderson, and then you all give your closing statements, and we'll be dismissing.
My question is that previously with the last administration, we have had a lot of difficulties with a split in the community based on a division of race and ethnicity. And I would like to know, what would you do to bring back the community or bring people back together? Because at this point, we have this issue with diversity.
Any 2 trustees, because we have to go. Any 2 candidates.
I've worked on committees for diversity, and my experience has been that they are not effective. People have to decide they want to respect and endure people of other races. If a person does not like someone of another race, no committee can make them like a person of another race. So I don't think diverse committees, in my experience, they have not worked. I think we need to find a common denominator, and that common denominator is to have a Sauk village that we want to raise our children, our grandchildren, and have them enjoy it.
Anybody else real quick?
I'll take this and be through real quick. When I first moved out here, it was a little different. Back in 1982, and I happened to live in right off of Thiessen Avenue, and I had a bad experience when I moved out here. However, since that time, when people get to know who you are, things change, and that's what we have to do. We have to come out of our homes, engage with people. But if a person doesn't like you just because someone else said something, then that's racism right there. That's not. I don't care what you want to tag it. That's racism because they haven't had a chance to talk to you. And I personally experienced that until they actually had a chance to say something and say, "Oh wow, we didn't know you were that way." Education, engagement. That's what stops racism. Not just sitting back and watching what someone else tells you about a person. Get out there, get involved, talk to that person, find out what they're all about. Then you can make a formal judgment. And that's what will stop all this that's going on.
Let's give all these candidates a round of applause. Come on, you put a great audience. You put a lot of information that we heard today. One quick announcement, our clerk has a form in the back to let you know the days when they're gonna be having early voting and when the last day to register to vote. We're gonna have the candidates to give a closing statement. Please hold on just 2 more minutes if you can. Hold on, no talking, shh. I'm sorry. We're gonna respect all of the candidates that's running. In 2 more minutes, we'll all be leaving. I want to say all of you all answered the questions and did a great job. I thank you on behalf of Neighborhood Watch for all of you all coming. I thank definitely our moderators for sitting here all this time. I owe you forever. I want to thank the audience for coming. We're going to allow the candidates to give a closing statement, something that you want the audience to go home knowing about you. The last thing you want to say to them before they leave. Also, I would like to encourage you all to have coffee sips for them. A lot of the candidates don't have a campaign office, so the only way that they can meet you and your neighbors is if you have them in your neighborhood, at your house or a neighbor's house. You can set up those coffee sips today. They also have literature today that they want to give you to take home with you and help them get the word out that they're all running for trustee. Finally, I want to say that there is no person that has won so far. You all are in the same position. You all are running for trustee for Sauk Village for April 2015. So it's going to be a lot of work. It's approximately 5 more weeks left. Knocking on doors and talking to these residents, that's what's going to make it happen. You've heard what they had to say today. Whoever you think you want to vote for it, let your neighbors and friends know. And I want to thank you all for coming. That'll be the last thing I say today. So with that being said, we're going to start with Cecil Tate and go all the way down. You have a minute or less to let the residents know what it is you want them to go home with and your final thoughts.
If you want someone to be your eyes and your ears and your voice, elect me and I will represent you.
Well, a lot of people don't know me. I haven't been here long. I'm a parent. My job, I'm a husband. My job is to protect, provide, educate my family, and maximize every dollar that comes into and out of my home. And I think that's a common goal through the whole village, that everyone wants to maximize their dollar. And that's what I want to do as a trustee. I want to maximize every dollar that comes in and every dollar that's going out. If you want the bang for your buck, vote for Kelvin Jones.
First off, I'm right along with everybody else. I think I'm the right man, but at the same time, you have 6 candidates to fill 3 seats. It's up to the villagers who gets in here. Do your homework, look at each one of us, talk to each one of us. We're all easy to talk to. I have never had trouble talking to Cecil. I've known him for several years. I just met Mr. Jones. I've known John, and I've known Derek for a long time. We're all here. We all feel we have the right ideas. All we can ask is you ask us what you want us to do, and we do it to the best of our ability. And I think all 6 of us are capable of doing that. Thank you.
I also tend to agree with a lot of what Gary said there, but as far as myself, what do I bring? I bring a lot of dedication. Just some dedication is, I've been married to the same woman for 38 years, so that's dedication. I have 3 boys. I have 5 going on 6 grandchildren that I enjoy very much, so I'm very dedicated to them. I worked for all the village for many years as an ESDA unit, as a Little League manager, as player personnel for the Little League. I even worked for the Cougars in Glenwood, which you know is a football team. Every time I've been appointed to one of these committees, I work as hard as I can for them. Parks and Recs is a hard job. I am retired now, so I can dedicate a little more time than somebody who's not retired. But I really enjoy doing the work that I'm doing for the village. I would like to continue that work. So if you need somebody who you know can do the work and is dedicated to it, vote for John P.L.A.N. Thank you.
like to say thank you, Trustee Washington, and your committee for putting on this forum. It was well needed, and I congratulate you on your first time doing it. You did a great job. I just want to tell people the job of a trustee is a bittersweet job. Sometimes you're not going to be popular, sometimes you are. Only thing I can say is a million attaboys. All you need is one all, and you know what I'm talking about, to negate that. That job of a trustee is to make sure that we're fiscally responsible here in the village. If you want someone that's going to continue to make that happen, if you want a person that's going to be the advocate for the people, that will listen, not just say or do, but actually listen, that you can go back and you can put your finger on it and you can look and see, and a person that you feel is dedicated, a person that you feel is going to be there wherever it may be. It's going to be hard. Gentlemen, I just want to let you know the job of trustee is 24/7. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a business. If you're looking for someone to run this village as a business, to make sure that when you come in that your taxes are not going sky high and the money that you paid is going to make sure that we at one day become solvent enough where we can run this village without having problems as far as we can't pay this person, we can't pay that. First thing you need to do, and everyone also should know, when you get paid, you pay yourself. That's the way you run a business. If you're looking for someone like that, please vote for me. If you're looking for someone to get along, to say, okay, we're going to do this and that, I'm not your person. I'm not the person for that. I'm the person to try to make sure, because I pay taxes out here. I am involved with my water bill is whatever everyone else's is on. And as far as tenacity, I love my wife, I love my family. I've been married to my wife for 40 years. I have 14 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. So I know what dedication is, and I'm very proud of it. Again, if you want a person that has those attributes, please vote for Derek Burgess. Thank you.
Give all of our candidates a great big hand clap. I hope you all will allow them to come on your block and set up coffee spaces. You've been a great audience. But this concludes the Neighborhood Watches Meet and Greet the Candidates for 2015 for Sauk Village. Thank you. Come up and talk to the candidates and shake their hands. School board members that are still here and trustees. Thank you, everybody. Spread the word all over Sauk Village. We have an election that's going on.